Hello all. Before starting the session, I'll give you a quick recap on the previous session, like what we have discussed. So we discussed about merging multiple internal tables into one single internal table, that is like final output internal table, right? So usually when we create any program or application, we need to select data from multiple tables and we need to prepare one final output, consolidated output by merging all those data, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That For that, we can use multiple alternative options. Like one option is using for all entries to select the corresponding data from different tables,
Yes.
right? And after selecting the data, we are going to merge it into a final internal table. Other way is we can use joins
Yeah.
to select data directly in the expected final output. But there are some limitations when we are using joins. So what is the mandatory requirement to merge multiple internal tables into single internal table? There should be at least one common field between
One common.
one
Okay.
internal table and other internal table. Okay, not all internal tables should have a common key. Okay, that is not required, but at least two internal tables should have a common key. Okay, here in this example, so employee master and employee salary have a common key, employee ID, and employee salary and month have a common key, that is a month ID, right?
Yes, sir.
Then only we can merge the data. Now we'll see, we'll create a program and see how we can do that. It is very important. I'll use standard tables like purchase order data or sales order data. What are the, when we need to create a program, what is the first step in creating the program? What is the first step in creating the program?
Title name and types.
Okay. So what is the type of the program? Executable program.
Executable.
For now, I'll save it in the local object, local package, $tmp. Now, we created the program and we saved it. What is the next step? So when someone asks you to create a program, what is your first analysis?
We have to provide the input.
Hmm. First thing is in this program, the first analysis should be selection screen inputs, right? Selection screen inputs. What
Okay.
are the inputs I need to use in the selection screen?
Selection screen.
And validations. So we cannot accept any input, right? We should accept only
Yes, sir.
valid input. For that, what we need to do? We need to do validations. What is the event
Valid.
that we use for validations?
At selection screen.
At selection screen is the event that we use for selection screen input validations, right? So after selection screen design, after creating parameters and select options, after validating the data, what is the next step?
Top solution is
Write the business logic or the actual program functionality. Here we are going to write select statements, do some calculations, right? After that, what is the next phase? After business logic, like after business logic functionality is completed, what is the next step?
With the output.
Display the output in required format, right? So what are the output fields you wanted to be displayed in the output screen, right? So any program, you need to do this analysis. First, starting the program, you should identify what are the inputs of this program. Inputs might be parameters, select options, right? Depends on the requirement. You need to take both combination of select options and parameters, right? After that, you need to validate the inputs, then business logic, and then display the output in the desired format. Before displaying the output, what we need to do? We need to prepare one final output, right? Now let's see step by step. So what are the tables for purchase order data? EKKO is the header table. EKPO is the
EKPO is
EKPO
the
is the
item table.
item level
Item
table.
table.
So in the header level table, overall overview of the data will be available, like total price, total quantity. But in item level, for each material, right? For each material, we'll be having one separate item, and each item contains its price and its unit price and its total price, total item price, and what is the quantity of that item. Those details will be available. EKKO is the header level data and EKPO is the item level data,
Item level data.
right? So in EKPO, we have material number also. What is the material that we are using? So when purchase order will be created in any organization, when this purchase order will be created, when they need to buy something, when they need to buy something. For example, if you take some company, Reliance, right? When they create purchase order, when they need to buy some raw materials from external
Ven-
vendors,
Vendors.
right? So for example, if you take your college, so maybe small colleges may not have this process, but if you take any big college or university, when they create purchase orders, when they need to buy some stationery like books, pens, etc., or when they create purchase order, when they need to buy furniture, they don't manufacture their own furniture, right? Colleges, they'll buy it from
Yes, sir.
external vendors
Vendor.
who can supply furniture, right?
Yes.
First, how the process will start? Purchase order process. Let's say college or company. Like in this example, company. Company need some furniture like chairs and tables. They don't go to the shop and buy directly. Any large organization, what they do?
The proposal a request to the vendors.
Proposal or quotation. Okay. What is
Okay.
the price they can provide? What is the expected delivery date? Next, company review the company review the quotations, right?
Quotations. Yes, sir.
And then they finalize one quotation, right? Company review the quotation of the vendor, right? What is the best price the vendor is offering, right? What is the expected delivery date of the vendor, right? What is the quality of their material? They'll check the vendor history and everything, and they'll finalize one vendor. And once the vendor is confirmed, what they do? create PO. PO nothing but purchase order. What are the
Purchase order.
transaction codes in SAP to create the purchase order? ME21N is to create ME22N is to change the existing purchase order. ME23N is to just display the existing purchase orders. Right? What does this contains? Each purchase order contains what are the materials we are buying, the company is buying, and what is the price, who is the vendor. Okay, purchase order contains these details. Is everyone clear when the purchase order will be created? And we have
Yes, sir.
sales order also.
Yes,
Sales
sir.
order, when the sales order will be created? When we are selling something to the customer. When we are selling it, which order will be created?
Sales order.
Sales order. When we are selling one final finished product, like for example, if you take Tata cars, when they need to sell a car, right, they'll create a sale order. But when they need to purchase the raw materials to manufacture the car, they create
They create a purchase
purchase
order.
order.
Yes.
Now let's create the selection screen. So what is the selection criteria? Go to the table. We can filter the data by using different fields, but we'll identify some fields. EKKO. We have a lot of fields here. We can filter by purchase order number, company code, purchase order type, right? Category. We can also filter it by created date, when the purchase order is created, and by listener. Listener nothing but vendor.
Vendor.
And
Vendor. Who is the vendor? All the purchase orders created were that particular vendor. Okay. So now we'll take two inputs. That is, one is created date, another one is vendor. We'll take two inputs. Okay. By using these two inputs, we can filter. So let's take them as a select options. Okay. Let's take them as select options, or one select option and one parameter. So how to define a parameter? Parameters p underscore vendor
Vendor.
type. What is the type? This one. Okay.
okay.
Not char. This data element. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then create a select option. For the select option, what is the prerequisite? We need to define one variable,
Variable. Variable.
date, type. What is the type of AEDAT? This one. And then create the select option. Select options. SO underscore date for LV underscore date. This is our selection screen. First step is completed. See, most of the people worry about the programs and programming when they look at hundreds of lines of code, right? Why we are going to scare about some mathematical problems or programs? Because when we open it, we see hundreds of
Thousands of.
lines, right?
Yes, sir.
But do they really,
For
whoever
some.
created that program, do they really create it in a day?
No.
They might take 2 months, 3 months to complete it, right?
Yes.
Every day they might implement only 20 lines of code, right? It
Yes,
will
sir.
take months to complete a complex program, right?
Yes, sir.
So we are going to start from every developer. They are going to start from small syntaxes. right? The basic things, and they are going to develop that program day by day, right? Step by step. First, we are done with the selection screen, right? Now check
Yes,
the
sir.
selection screen. Don't don't continuously write the program. Please keep that in mind. Don't write the program continuously. First, design one small part, stop there, activate the program and test it. Is this small functionality is working or not? Test it. It is working, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What are we missing?
Yes, sir.
We are missing something. Can you guys tell me what is the important thing we are missing here? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Still not able to identify. What is the thing that we are missing here? Selection
Text
text.
element.
Text,
Text element.
text element.
Selection text. Selection text. It is displaying the technical names of the parameter and select option. We need to maintain selection text. Okay. Now we activate it. Activated. Now go back to your program and test it. Now, is it working properly or not? Whatever the selection screen functionality you implemented, it is working as expected, right? With the I've created one
Yes.
parameter and one select option, it is displaying as it is with the field labels or selection text. Okay. We can also design this selection screen with some additional options, like we can add some frame for look and feel. Okay. For that we can use. So we need to enclose the parameters or select options within selection screen begin of block name give some name. I'll name it as b1 with frame observe, and close it with the selection screen begin of block b1. Okay, activate it. Sorry, end of black b1. Now execute. Now we have a frame, right? Instead of plain display,
Yes, sir.
you guys
Yes,
observe we
sir.
have a frame. If you want to provide some text here for the user, some input text, some help text, if you want to provide here as a title, how can you provide that? Here with frame, and add one more addition, title. How can you maintain the title? In the text elements you have text symbols. Maintain the text symbol. Enter the vendor and some text, created date. Okay, and activate this. It will automatically generate one number, text symbol number. What is the number it is generated?
001.
001. For the second one, 002. Third one, 003. It will automatically generate. Okay.
Okay.
Now I've
Okay.
activated the text symbol. It is text symbol. Please observe. Text symbols. Selection text is for parameters and select options. I created the text symbol with frame, title, text hyphen 001. This text can be used anywhere, including messages, write statements, anywhere. Reusable. You can reuse this text in any number of times. Okay. Whatever the text you configured in text symbol, that will be displayed here. Now activate. Now we have a title, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like that, we can design the selection screen in multiple ways. We can add some symbols, right? We can add some buttons even. We'll see step by step. Okay. For now, concentrate on selection screen designing, like selection screen begin of block, end of block with frame, title and title text. You can start using it. Okay. The projects we used to create like this to design the selection screen. There are advanced options. First, you need to familiar with these basic things. Okay. Now, our selection screen design is completed. What is the next step? Your next analysis should be, do we need to display or do we need to populate any default values? Do we need to display any default values? If you need to display any default values, what is the event you need to use?
Initialization.
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 Okay.
For example, I want to populate some default date. What are the fields in select option structure?
So that I
Sign.
sign
Sign,
Sign
equal to
for
I
equal
example,
to
I
include,
R
in-
E.
include hyphen option. I want to pass range. For that,
between.
Between.
low. Low means start date should be sy hyphen datum minus 30. Last 30 days date. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Current date minus 30. DATUM. And high date, current date. Okay. And append
Yes.
so underscore date. Like that, you can add multiple ranges also. Now, what is the next step? Validation, right? I want
Yes.
to make sure there is some input in the parameter vendor. It should not be blank. That is my requirement. Vendor should not be blank. There should be some value, right? If there is no value and executed, it should display some error. Okay. How can you validate it? What is the event for selection screen validations?
At selection screen.
It should be after initialization only.
Yes, sir. Order one.
At selection screen. Now, how to validate the vendor? If p underscore vendor is initial, then what we need to do? If the initial means what? Empty. If p
Empty.
underscore vendor
Empty.
is
Empty.
empty and user executed the report, then we need to display some error message.
Yes.
Message.
If we like, since it is a mandatory field, can't we use just obligatory? It will also stop the user, right? Without
Yes,
executing the
sir.
program if the value is blank. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
But then why we need to use this validation at selection screen? Let's observe. I've added, where is the parameter? Yeah, I've added obligatory. Now I'll execute the program. But it won't display any specific message. Execute it. Is it saying you need to enter vendor number? It is just saying fill out all required entry fields. right? Fill
Yes,
out
sir.
all required entry fields. It is saying. Is it saying about vendor?
No.
No, right? It's
No,
just
sir.
providing
No.
some generic message when I use obligatory. But I'll try like this. There is multiple functionalities why we use this. If it is initial, what type of message we need to return?
Error message.
Error
Return
message.
E.
Enter vendor
Type,
number.
type
Type
E.
E. It is very important. Please concentrate. What every point
Sir,
is
is it,
important. Hmm. What
sir,
is it?
is it user defined error message, right?
Yes, user defined error message.
Obligatory is nothing but default error
Yeah,
message.
default error message, but it won't provide any specific error. It will
Yes,
just
sir.
check is there a value available or not. Okay. Even
Okay.
if you enter Z or some junk value, it will work. Obligatory is not going to stop.
Okay, done.
What is the functionality of obligatory? It will make sure if there is some value entered or not. That's it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's execute. I'm not using obligatory. It is displaying a proper error message. Enter vendor number.
Vendor number.
Vendor number.
Now how many fields are highlighted here in red color? How many inputs are highlighted?
3, sir.
Two. Two. See, it is part of same input, right? Select. It is part of these two high and
Yes.
low are part of same select option.
Yes, sir.
Where we have the error? In which parameter we have the error? In which input we have the
Vendor.
error? Vendor.
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 But only
Sir.
that should be highlighted, right? Why date is also highlighted? For that, for that we have to use one more addition to highlight only that field wherever we have the error. Instead of using simple at selection screen, we need to use at selection screen on which field we need to raise this error? P
Vendor, sir.
underscore
Vendor.
vendor
Vendor.
on this parameter, right? Now only this parameter should be highlighted wherever the error, not all the parameters. Now check how this will work. I am not entering anything in the vendor. Now the inputs
It's
with correct
highlighted.
values are grayed out or disabled, and only the field, the parameter with error entry or error value is enabled, right? So that user
Yes,
can
sir.
easily understand, right, where he needs to correct the value.
Yes.
He
Yes,
can
sir.
directly point out that error input. So for that we use this one, at selection screen on. If we don't use at selection screen on, it will highlight all the parameters or select options available in the selection screen. Even there is no error. Even there is no error in the rest of the parameters. Clear?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Now we
Yes,
have
sir.
hard coded, right? We are using hard coded message, right? Always
Yes.
remember, don't use hard coded text in your programs. This is called hard coded text. We are directly providing the message here. Never use hard coded text. Is it not going to work if you use hard coded text? It will work. Okay, but it is not recommended to use hard coded text. We should always use constants or text symbols. For messages we use text symbols. For these kind of values, right, message type E, this kind of sign between, for these kind of values we use constants. You know, right, how to define a constant? Like this: constant, for example, C underscore E, type char1 value E. Now instead of using hard coded text, I'll use this constant name here. Okay, clear? As per
Yes.
program naming standards. Okay, don't use hard coded values. Even if you use hard-coded values, program will work, okay? But we should follow some programming standards or guidelines.
And that. Yes.
Okay, for these kind of values, we use constants. For example, this one, message, it's a message, right? For this kind of values, what we need to use? Text symbol. Text symbol. Create the text symbol. Go to text elements
And text symbols.
and go to text symbols and enter the message. Enter the vendor number. Click on enter. It will automatically generate the text symbol number 002. Activate the text symbol. Go back. Instead of hard-coded message, we use that text symbol.
Number
Text
00 hyphen
text hyphen 002.
02
Whatever the message we maintained in the text symbol, that will be displayed here.
displayed.
And always remember to use pretty printer to align the code in a proper format.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now it will throw the error. Enter the vendor number. I'll enter something. I don't know whether it is a proper value or not. Executed. Is it throwing any error?
No.
No, sir.
But is it a proper value? I just entered some value, random value. Is it a correct vendor number?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
How can you know that? How can you know this is not a correct vendor number? We need to check that in which table?
Yeah.
Vendor master table.
That's the problem.
What is the vendor master table? Do you know what is the vendor master table? What is the customer master table? KNA1, right? What is the material master table?
Mara.
Like that, what is the vendor master table?
MARA.
Like that, what is the vendor master table? I don't know. But how can you know that? Now we are in EKKO, right? We have a vendor field here, right? Select
Yes.
the field. Go to foreign key. What is the check table? What is the check table?
LF.
LFA1.
LFA1.
This is the master table for vendor, right? What is the check table for listener? LFA1.
LF.
If you want to know check table for this one, uh, company code, how can you know the check table or master table for company code? Place the cursor,
Select
go
the
to
field.
foreign key.
Origin key.
T001 is the check table. Now how can you say a particular vendor is a valid vendor number? Go to the check table, check the value here, some value, execute. Is that value available here?
No.
Then is it a valid vendor? Is it a valid
Yes, sir.
vendor?
No.
No, since that value is not available in master table, whatever the vendor numbers available in LFA1 table are the only valid vendors,
Valid entries.
valid entries. So only you should allow those values are valid records, right? For
Yes.
example, if I enter here, if I enter this, I'm able to find that vendor in the LFA1 table. That means it's a valid vendor number, right?
Yes.
Now here I have entered something, right? Now how can you validate this value before going to execute the program? I've entered some value in the parameter. How can you validate this value is a valid value or not? Where we need to check?
That selection screen.
Oh, okay, in net selection screen event only we need to do that check. But from where we need to compare this value? Is it a
Vendor
valid value?
Vendor table.
master
Which
table.
one? Check
Vendor
table.
master.
Check table or master table. How can you check that? How can you do that check? How can you check that value is available in the Master table or not?
Go to S11.
Okay, how can you write S11 here? Do you write like this? Go to S11 and
No,
enter.
No, sir.
no,
Do you need to write like this here?
no,
Is it going to work?
no.
No, right? Tell me how to check record in a table.
By
You're
using
not
for all
thinking.
entries.
You're not thinking. You guys are not even thinking. How can you select any data from table? How can you select the data from the database table?
By using select statement.
Simple, that's it. By using select
Select.
statement, we can validate whether that entry is available in the table or not. Right? Simple. So how many vendor numbers we are entering here? Only single one, right? It's a parameter. Now tell me the select statement to validate the vendor number. When we validate, when user entered some value, right? There are two types of validations. Please remember, the first step of validation is we need to check whether user entered some value or not, because that is a mandatory parameter. What is the second step of validation? Whatever the value entered by the user is a valid
Valid.
value or not. That is second step of validation. This is common in any programming language, in any applications. First step we have completed. We are checking here whether user entered some value or not, and we are raising the error message. Now what we need to check? User entered something, but we don't know that is a valid value or not. For that we need to do validation. How can you write? Else.
Shall
Else means what? Not initial, right? Here we are checking for is initial. Else means is not initial. User entered something. User entered something. Now, what is the select statement we write? Select single. Hmm. Which one? Listener. From which table? From which table?
E-
LF.
EKK.
Yes.
LFA1. LFA1 is the master table for vendor. From
Yes, sir.
LFA1
Clickable.
into, we are selecting only single field, right? Listener. We are not selecting even multiple fields. Into
Yes.
at the rate data, some LV underscore listener, and where listener equal to which value? Whatever the value entered by the user.
Any vendor.
Whatever the value entered by the user, we are going to pass it to the select statement. If sy-sub rc equal to 0 means what? Select statement is executed successfully. So the vendor record is available. Is not equal to 0 means
Selection
select
should not.
statement failed. That means
Yes.
whatever the vendor number we have provided is not a valid one.
Valid.
Now we check here for not equal to 0 and raise a message. Enter valid vendor number. Type E. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Instead of this, what you need to use?
Text symbols.
I'll use constant for error type and text symbol for message. I'll use 3 for this. I'll maintain the text symbols. Enter valid
Entry.
vendor number. The previous message is for when there is no number at all. Now for valid vendor, right? Activate it, execute. I'll enter some random number, execute. What did he saying?
Enter valid vendor
Valid
Enter
number.
valid
vendor number. I'll enter 8 because vendor 8 is already there. Execute. It is not displaying any error message. Keep a breakpoint. When the at selection screen event will be executed, when user entered the value and click on execute. At selection screen event will execute now. Okay. P underscore vendor. There is some value F5. It is executing the select statement. Sub RC is not equal to 0. That means 4. It is raising the error message. Is everyone clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, two steps of validations. First thing, if it is a mandatory parameter or if it is a mandatory select option, you need to make sure there is some entry or not. And what is the next step of validation? Whatever the entry provided
Is
by the
valid.
user is a valid entry or not. We should not allow any kind of value, any value, right?
Yes, sir.
If you open Gmail without entering the Gmail and click on login, it will display the error.
Yes.
Please enter the email ID. Then that doesn't mean that it will accept any email ID, right? It will accept only a valid email ID.
Only.
How that is going to check? How the Gmail application knows that your email ID is valid email ID or not?
Validation.
When you enter the value, it is going to check that value from database.
Database.
In Gmail database, there should be some table, some master table for all Gmail IDs. It's going to check in that table. Is it a valid ID or not? If it is a valid ID, it will allow you. Otherwise, it will return a error message.
Yes.
That is the validation part. Now, you can validate, similarly, you can validate select options also. Okay. Now, what is the next step after validations? Business logic. What is the event for that?
Start
Start
of
of
selection.
selection. Now, what is the base table? First, we need to select the data from. What is the inputs we are taking? Vendor number and created date, right? So, we have those two fields in EKKO table. We have created date and vendor number in EKKO table. Write the select statement. I'm using inline declarations only. I'm not going to use old ABAP syntaxes because you are already know how to write those. Okay. Select. What are the fields we need? EBLN. EBLN is the purchase order number. That is very important to link with EKPO. EBLN. BUKRS company code. And we'll select AEDAT created date and listener. From which table?
EKKO.
EKKO
EK.
into table at the date of LT underscore EKKO where what is the condition? AEDAT in S1 underscore date because it's a
S1
select
underscore
option, right?
date.
It's a select option, right? Date and listener equal to
At
P
the rate.
underscore
Vendor.
vendor. I think we need to add at the date for this also. Clear? Now first step of select statement is completed. We have header data, purchase order header data. Check the syntax. Yeah, syntax is correct. Next, what is the data that we need to select? Purchase order item level data. Go to the table. Let's take one purchase order and come check that in EKPO. Take this sum 6, go to EKPO, C11, enter the purchase order. I think this purchase order is having only one item. Okay, is only having one item, but just observe the fields. What are the fields available here? Purchase order number, item number, purchase order number, item number, and what are the important fields? Purchase order text, created date, material number. What is the material number? And we have price and quantity in the item level data. Display this one. What is the NETPR?
Net price.
Net
Net
price.
price.
What is the NETWR?
Net value.
Total item price
Yes.
or net price. What is the quantity? MENGE. Menge is the quantity field. 300 quantity.
See.
So this item, this material we are purchasing 300 in quantity. And what is the each item price? Some 2,20,000.
Yes, sir.
What is the total price? Total item price? 300 into
300 into 22 lakhs
total
20.
item price. Sorry, net unit price. Okay. We'll select these fields also MENG, MENGE from EKPO. Now we'll select data from EKPO. But are we going to select all the records from EKPO?
No, only
No,
No,
No.
required.
sir.
only records which we selected here by using this condition, by using this date and vendor condition, we are going to select only those specific records, right? For that, what we need to do? We need to use for all entries. If S5 hyphen sub RC equal to 0. What does that mean? What does that mean? If sub RC equal to 0 means what?
It should not be empty in header data.
Select statement is successful. The above select statement is successful. That means we are able to select at least one record, right? What are the rules to use for all entries? Header table should not be empty, right? Rule number one
Yes.
is true, right?
Yes, sir.
If sub RC equal to 0 means we
Yes.
are able to select at least one record into internal
Yes.
table. Rule one, that should not be empty. Header table should not be empty. Rule one is we have handled it. Next, what is the rule? Sorted order.
Sorted order.
Sort
Salt.
Sorted out.
LT underscore EKKO by which field? What is the common field between EKKO and EKPO?
EBLN.
EBELN.
EBLN.
By EBELN, purchase order number. And what is the next rule?
No duplication.
No
Delete
Delete the
duplication.
adjacent
Duplicates.
duplicates.
Adjacent duplicates from LT EKKO comparing which field?
EBLN.
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 Now, second rule also handled. Third rule also handled. Okay. So here we are checking sub RC. That means when sub RC equal to 0, when there is some record, when there is some record in the internal table. That means it is not empty, right? Otherwise, what is the alternative? You can also handle like this. If LT underscore EKKO is not initial, you can also do like this instead of sub RC. That means is not initial means what? There is some record. Okay, you can also do like this. Now write the select statement. Select EBLN What is the item level field? EBLP. And Matner, material number. What are the other fields, important fields we need?
Net price.
MENGE, quantity, this one, quantity. If you want unit of measurement, MEINS, that is the field for unit of measurement, MEINS. What are the other fields? If you want unit price, NETPR. And if you want total price, NETWR. Right? There should be currency also. PEINH. I think it is unit. From EKPO into table at the rate of data LT underscore EKPO. For all entries in which one? LT underscore.
EKKO.
We need to use escape sign for new ABAP syntaxes. Inline declarations where EBELN equal to, that's it. Right? Next. You have selected the purchase order item level data also. Right? I have material number here, right? I have material number here. Can we get material text? What is the name of this material? From which table we need to select that? Material name.
MK.
Material name. What is the material master data table? MARA. But do we have material text here? No, we have only material number. What is the table for material text? Go to text table.
Text table.
What is the table?
MAKT.
MAKT.
MAKT. Here we have material number and its corresponding text. Now we have selected items, right, from EKPO. Purchase order items, right? Each purchase order contains multiple items, maybe one or more items, and each item contains one material, right? Yes or no? Execute. So every material contains one item. Sorry, every item contains one material. Multiple purchase orders might have same material or not. I think this month company created one purchase order to buy some laptops. That material number is 100. Laptops material number is 100. That material name is laptops. So this month they created a purchase order to create the material numbers. Maybe after 2 months they may have new requirement and they might buy few more laptops, right? At that time they are going to create one more purchase order, right? Is it with the same material number or different material number?
Same material
Same
number.
material
Same
number.
material number.
Maybe after 1 year they might create one more purchase order for the same material. They are going to use same material number, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
for
sir.
Yes.
multiple purchase orders, material number can be same. Okay?
Okay, clear.
And there should be a material number. Now we selected some material numbers, right? So we selected some items, right? Now we need to select material name of those material numbers, whatever selected items. How can you select that? Where we have that material number? In which table we have? What is the input internal table here to select the material number text? EKKO table or EKPO?
EKPO.
EKPO,
EKPOs.
because we have material number in EKPO. Now that is the header table for MAKT. Now what is the header table to select the material text? EKPO.
EKPO in
EKPO.
the header
Now
table.
if sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, first rule is handled. First rule is handled using sub rc check. What is the next rule? Sort. Which one? EKPO.
EK.
By which field?
M
By which field?
MT Matner.
Matner, material
Matter.
number field. Because that is the common field, right? Between EKPO and MAKT.
Yes, sir.
Yes, material
Yes,
number is the common
material.
field, right? Now delete. Because we can have same material number for multiple purchase orders, right? Is there a chance or not?
So maybe.
Yes,
Then
sir.
then there should be a duplicate record, right? Multiple
Yes.
purchase orders
Yes.
will contain same material record. When you compare it by material number, you can find lot of duplicate records. For that, delete adjacent duplicates from LT EKPO. Comparing which field?
Matner.
Material number. Then select Matner and what is the other field in MAKT? Sorry. What are the other fields? Material number and what is the important field? MAKTX. Here we have text.
Yes, sir.
From which table? MAKT
One
into
minute.
MAKT.
table for all entries in which one? EKPO.
EKPO.
Where? What is the condition? Tell me the condition.
Matner
Yes. Matner equal to,
at the rate of LT EKPO. EKPO Matner.
that's it. Right? Now we selected the purchase order header data, purchase order item level data, and material data, corresponding material text data from three different tables into three different internal tables. Right? What is the next step? We need to merge these three
Yes.
tables in three internal tables data into one final
Final
output
table.
internal table. Before that, observe something here. We are deleting the duplicates by material number right here from EKPO. We are deleting
Yes.
the records by Matner, right? Is Matner primary key in EKPO?
No, sir.
No.
It's not a primary key, right? So this Matner number can be repeated for multiple purchase order items. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Material number is repeating for multiple purchase orders. That means they are invalid purchase orders. If the material number is repeating for multiple purchase orders, do you mean that they are invalid purchase orders?
Mm.
No, right? They are not invalid purchase orders. They are correct purchase orders, valid purchase orders, right? They have created in different times for the same material, right? But if we delete by material number, it is going to delete valid purchase orders also. It will keep only one purchase order and it's going to delete remaining purchase orders with the same material. Yes or no?
Yes.
For example, there are purchase order 100 or 1000 and item 10 with the material number 100. There is one more purchase order 2000 with the 10 with the same material 100. Then there is one more purchase order 3000 with the different item 100. Now tell me, are these are invalid purchase orders?
No.
No,
No.
right? But if you
No.
apply delete adjacent duplicates, what will happen? It will delete these two
Two
records from
record.
the internal table and
Records.
keeps only
One
one
record.
One
record, one
record.
purchase order record, right? That should not happen because these are also
Yes.
valid purchase orders. We need to display these purchase orders also in output, right? But if you delete it from internal table, can you display these two valid purchase orders in output?
No, sir.
No.
No, right?
No, sir.
But why we are applying this delete adjacent? This is for all entries because this check should happen only for all entries. For that reason only we are deleting the duplicates. That doesn't mean that we should delete the actual data available in the EKPO internal table, right? That's why don't delete data from internal tables directly for all entries conditions. When you are checking the for all entries conditions, don't delete directly from the actual internal table. Clear? Don't delete directly from
Yes,
actual
sir.
internal table. Instead of that, what you need to do? Create one temporary internal table. After sorting is fine. After like maybe before the sort also, if sub r c equal to 0, create one temporary internal table. How can you create an internal table? Using inline declaration, you can create like this. Data of lt underscore ekpo tmp equal to which one? lt underscore ekpo. Now we created one temporary internal table and we copied all the records of lt underscore ekpo to this temporary internal table. All the records will be copied to this temporary internal table. Now sort the temporary internal table and delete from temporary internal table and also use temporary internal table in the select statement, right? Clear? Don't delete the records from actual internal table. You are going to lose the data before displaying the output. Okay? Clear?
Yes, sir.
When it is required, do we need to do the same for this one also, LTEKKO also?
No.
Why? Because here EBLN is the
It
EVLN
is
primary
is
key.
it.
primary key.
It's
Yes,
the
sir.
primary key. There is no chance of duplicate records, right?
Yes, sir.
Even we don't need to apply this. Actually, we don't need this statement. I've just created it for your understanding. When you are comparing or when you are sorting it by EBLN, there is no chance of duplicate records because EBLN is the only primary key in EKKO, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm not using any temporary table here because it's not going to delete anything. This delete adjacent statements will fail because it is not able to find any duplicate records. But here in this case, we have common field that is a non-primary key field in EKPO. That means that field value can be repeated for multiple records. There is a chance of duplicate records. That's why we are applying sort and deleting the duplicates by material number since it is a non-primary key field in the EKPO. That's why don't delete directly and use one temporary internal table. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can create like this using inline declaration. Okay, but using older syntaxes, you need to define using data statement, data lt underscore ekpo temp type standard table of whatever the structure or table you are referring for LT you have to use same structure name. Whatever the structure or table you are using for this internal table, use that same structure for this internal table declaration also. If you are using old syntaxes, using data statement. Clear?
Yes, son.
That is very important. Please remember. Now we have the data. Now what is the next step? Display the output, right?
Yes.
Now
Yes,
we
sir.
have data in 3 different tables. We need to merge this data into one final output. For that, what is the prerequisite? We need one output structure, final output structure that we can define using types begin of some ty underscore final. I am naming it as some final. What are the fields required in this final output structure? Combination of 3 tables. First one, EBLN. What is the type? It is from EKKO. Type is EBLN only. Data element. What is the next field? I'll take EKPO. Sorry, item number. After this, I'll take item number. EBELP. Type EBELP. From which table this is? EKPO.
DKPU.
This can be from EKKO or EKPO because it is
EKPO.
available in
DKPU.
both tables, right?
Yes,
You can
sir.
take this data from any internal table. Next, what are the other fields we selected? Company code BUKRS. Type BUKRS. Next, AEDAT and Lifner vendor numbers. What is the type of AEDAT? This is from EKKO. This is also from EKKO. Lifner. What is the type of Lifner? Take the data element. What are the other fields we need to maintain in the final output structure? We have EBLN, EBLP. Uh, yeah, EBLN, EBLP is completed. Next, material number, Matner. Type. See, we are selecting different fields. Doesn't mean that we should include all these fields in the final output. Okay? Whatever the output you need to display, include only those fields. After this, I'll add material text, MAKTX. Type, I think it's the same data element, MAKTX. Next, I'll add quantity, price, and everything, rest of the fields. MENG. What is the type of MENG? I'll take same type for now. Let me change if there is any error. Type MEINS and unit price, NETPR. Net price. So these are the fields, right? We
Yes.
have selected from all these 3 different tables. Let me check, is there any issue in the data elements? Looks like all these data elements are available. Or maybe check again. Control F, MENGE, Menge, MENGE. I think it is different. BSTMNG. Where is Menge? For mains, unit of measurement, BSTME. Next for NETPR, NETPR this one. Looks like these data elements are also available, but in the table they are not referring the same. For NETWR, BWERT. That is the data element. Yeah. Now we have all final internal table. Now the rest of the fields are from EKPO. This from EKPO, from where we are selecting material text, MAKT. Rest of the fields from EKPO. Okay. Now define an internal table and work area. LT final type standard standard table of which one? TY underscore final, and we'll define one work area also. LS underscore final type TY underscore final. Now my final structure and internal table and work area is ready. Now I need to populate the final structure, right? For that, what we need to do? It is very important. Please observe. Now we need to loop the internal table. We need to loop the internal table. One internal table. Which internal table we need to loop? Which internal table you need to loop? You have LTEKKO, LTEKPO, and MAKT. Now from all these three internal tables, which internal table we need to loop?
EKPO.
Why EKPO?
The
Hmm? You need to check the
two
coordinate
fields should be
relation. You need to check the relation. So for each purchase order number, how many records you can find in EKKO? For each purchase order number. For one purchase order number, how many records you can find it in EKKO? In EKKO, how many records will be available for each purchase order? What is the primary key in EKKO? EBLN number, right?
EBL.
Purchase order number,
EBLN.
nothing but EBLN number. So for each purchase order number, you can find only one record in
One
EKKO.
record.
In EKPO, how many records you can find for each purchase order number? Multiple, right? Because for each purchase order number, we'll be having multiple items which we maintained in EKPO, right? Yes or no? In EKPO, we will be having multiple records for each purchase order number. For example, if you take this 1000, in EKPO, you can find multiple records with the 10, 20, 30 items. But in EKKO, this 1000 contains only one single record.
One record.
That means EKKO is one-to-one relation. EKPO is one-to-one relation. What about EKPO? Is it one-to-one or n? It is
One to n relation.
n relation. It is one relation. It is 1. It is n. And go to MAKT. For each material, how many records you can find? Usually by each language, we'll be having only one record. We forgot something here. In the MAKT, we'll be having records with multiple languages, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But we are not specifying the language here. We need to specify language. In which language text you want to select. And SPRAS equal to
System
SY
language.
hyphen
SY hyphen
LANG2
Language.
login language, user login language.
Sir.
Now tell me, In this material and language combination, how many records you can find for each material? For one material, there will be only one record in the
Yes.
in this language and for this material number. This is also one, right? MAKT is also one relation. For one material, you can have only one record. But in EKPO, for one purchase order, how many records you will be having? Multiple,
Yeah.
for multiple items, right? Take this purchase order number 1. How many records it have in EKPO? 10 and 20,
Two
two
record.
items, two records. Like that, you will be having 5, 6, 10, 20 also. But in EKKO, how many records you will be having for this purchase document number 1? In EKKO, you can find only one record, right? Is everyone clear? Now, which internal table we
Yes,
need to
and
loop?
Okay.
The records with N.
EKPO.
N. That means EKPO. Loop at LT underscore EKPO into which one? Work area, right? Did we define any work area for EKPO? No. You can
No.
define here itself data of ls underscore EKPO. Using inline declaration, you can define here itself. Okay. Now into which internal table we need to pass this data? We need to merge this data into final internal table, right? What is the work area for final internal table? We have already defined ls final. First, it will move first record into EKPO work area. Now what we are doing? Move corresponding ls EKPO to ls final. Now what it will do? Whatever the common fields available in EKPO will be moved to ls final, right? What are the fields from EKPO? EBLP, I think Lifner is from EKKO. Whatever the common fields available in final structure and EKPO, those fields will be populated to this work area if we use move corresponding. But what is the alternative? Field to field mapping like this: ls underscore final hyphen EBLP equal to ls EKPO hyphen EBLP ls final hyphen matner equal to ls underscore EKPO hyphen matner. You need to map individual fields, but if you use move corresponding, it will automatically populate common fields between the CKPO structure and final structure. Clear? Is everyone
Okay.
clear? First time,
Yes, sir.
first record will be moved into this. At the end, what we need to do? Append ls underscore final to lt final, right? And clear ls final.
Final.
You can do this field to field mapping or move corresponding. Okay. What is a mandatory rule to use move corresponding? Names what you are using in the select statement and what field names what you defined in the type structure should be same. It will check by field names and populate the values. Clear?
Same.
Now we have populated only EKPO data. What about EKKO data? Did we populate EKKO data to final structure?
no.
No,
No.
right? Now how to populate the EKKO structure? EKKO, is it one relation or n with EBLP?
One
One.
relation.
One relation with the EKPO. For that, we don't need to use loop statement. We can use read table. For single records, we use read table statement. What is the property of read statement? It will move one single record from internal table to work area. What is the property of loop statement? It will loop all the records from internal table to work area one by one. Okay, clear? Difference between loop and read. Loop will process all the records of the internal table, but read statement will process only one record. Yes or no? Clear everyone? For
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
EKKO we are using read statement. Read table LT EKKO into which one? We define one work area using inline declaration ls underscore EKKO with key. With the key here we need to provide the condition. What is the condition? EBLN equal to which one? Whatever the EBLN we are processing through loop hyphen EBLN. Now it will read the header level data into this work area. Since one EBLN will have only one record in EKKO, read statement is enough. Okay. If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, what does that mean? There is purchase order record available in the internal table. Now move purchase order header level data to which one? Final. How can you do that? You can do field to field mapping, or if the field names are same in EKKO and type structure, final type structure, move corresponding ls EKKO to ls final. Now whatever the fields, common fields between EKKO and ls final will be moved to ls final. We have selected EKKO data also. What is the next data we need to populate into final structure? Material text, right?
Yes, sir.
Material text, is it 1 or n? For one
One.
material, how many records you can find in MAKT? Only one record, right? For each material text. By language,
Yes, sir.
read, we are going to write one more read statement. LT underscore MAKT into
Two.
data of, we'll define one work area, ls underscore MAKT. What is the condition? With key, what is the common field here between MAKT and EKPO?
Matner.
Matner equal to ls EKPO hyphen Matner. If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, and if, then populate that corresponding material text to final output structure. If there is only one field, you can use field to field mapping, ls final hyphen maktx equal to ls makt hyphen maktx, or you can also use move corresponding. Okay, now we have populated item data from loop statement, header level data from read statement, and material text from this read statement, and at the end we are appending that work area to internal table. How many times this loop will continue depends on number
Dependent.
of records in the internal table, EKPO internal table. Is everyone clear? Now after completing all the process, CL demo output display LT underscore final. This is how we merge the multiple internal tables into single internal table. After processing all these work areas, clear at the end, ls underscore EKPO, ls underscore EKKO, clear all the work areas. because next time, next new value will be populated into work area. E EBELN. Okay. Okay. No syntax errors. Activate. Let me keep a breakpoint here. Execute. Let me find some records in EKPO for the vendor and date combination. Where is the vendor field? Supplier. Where is the supplier number in EKPO? Plant storage location, material group. Where is Lifner? I mean EKPO only. Or let me find it here. Where is the layout? Click on change layout. Now I will select only required fields. Purchase order item. Let me move everything to this side. I'll move everything to this side and I'll select only required columns. This one, purchase order item and material, plant storage location. I don't need. Or let me find it. Lifter, I need lifter. I think it is fourth field or fifth field. Name should be supplier, I think. SUPP, supplier. This is prior supplier, but we need.
Sir, listener EKKO table, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Are
Yeah,
you searching
you're
EKPO?
right. Supplier is an EKKO table. You are right. I thought I'm searching in. Okay, good. Let me find some data. Good catch. Huh. So we have 406. This vendor number is repeating for multiple purchase orders. Let me try this 406 as program input. So enter the vendor number and date. I'll keep it as it is. Last 30 days date. Purchase orders created in the last 30 days. Execute. Now observe the internal tables data. First select, these are already executed. These select statements are already executed. Do you have any data in EKKO? Looks like there is no data for this combination. There is no data for this combination. Let me check the table. The dates. Looks like these are created in 30 days ago, like maybe 2 months ago. I'll change the date in selection screen. I'll take this as 6, okay, 0806, so that we can find some records, because those records are created in June or July. So execution is completed. Select statements execution is completed. Into EKPO. So we have 14 header records. And what about MAKT? So we have 5 materials. So observe the purchase order numbers. Purchase order numbers are unique. EBLN numbers are unique in the header data for this vendor, 406 vendor. And if you check EKPO, purchase order numbers might be repeating for few. This one, if you take this, where is this? Repeated purchase orders. Looks like all are unique here in this example, because there is no, looks like for 7 we have multiple items. No, looks like we have all unique purchase order numbers, but doesn't mean that we don't have duplicates, right? Now we are looping EKPO. First record will be moved into work area, and that will be populated to final F5. All EKPO related data is populated. Only EKPO related data is populated. Now we are passing EBLN number to this statement EKKO using read statement. Now only one record will be moved to EKKO. Yeah, one record is moved to EKKO. Move corresponding into final. It will populate header level data, and then we are moving to material text. It should populate material text value, and at the end we are appending that record to LT final, clearing the work areas, and again for second record same process until all the purchase order item records are completed. Okay, this is how we can display the final output. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So differences between loop will process all the records of the internal table, but what about read statement? It will move only one record from
One
internal table
record.
into work area. Since we are calling this read statement within the loop, how many times that each read statement will execute? How many times this read statement will execute? Depends on number of loop iterations, right? If loop executes for 100 times, these read statements will also execute for 100 times. Okay, whatever the logic code you placed inside the loop and end loop will repeatedly execute. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
So in the next session I'll give you one more example, but today please don't forget to practice. Take different tables like VBAK, VBAP, MAKT also you can take. In purchase order, in sales order also you have material number, but for sales orders you need to take customer. We don't have vendors in sales order data. We have customer number, Kunar. Okay, I'll send you that in message like the assignment. You can try that. Clear?
Yes, sir.